Looking at the game map, the military strategist was shocked. This wasn't just fantasy. These were perfect copies of real military bases, classified facilities. Welcome to Delta Files. Before we dive into this powerful story of hidden knowledge, classified information, and unexpected expertise, tell me in the comments where you're watching from today. And if you believe stories like this need to be remembered, hit that subscribe button. Phoenix Interactive was a mid-sized video game development studio in Austin, Texas, known for creating realistic military strategy games that attracted both casual gamers and serious tactical enthusiasts. For 6 years, Alex Chen had been their lead designer, responsible for creating detailed battle scenarios that felt authentic enough to immerse players in modern warfare. Alex was exactly what you'd expect from a game developer. Late nights, multiple monitors, extensive research into military history and tactics. His games were praised for their realism, attention to detail, and strategic complexity that challenged even experienced players. Colonel James Rodriguez was on administrative leave from the Pentagon, recovering from his 4th deployment as a military strategic planner. His therapist had recommended gaming as a way to stay mentally engaged without the stress of actual military operations. Phoenix Interactive's latest game, Global Conflict, had excellent reviews for tactical realism. What Colonel Rodriguez found made his blood run cold. Playing through the campaign mode, Rodriguez initially appreciated the game's attention to military detail. The weapons were accurate, the tactics were sound, and the strategic elements felt realistic. But as he progressed through different scenarios, Rodriguez began recognizing specific locations. The game's Middle Eastern desert base wasn't generic. It was a perfect replica of forward operating base Chapman in Afghanistan, down to the exact placement of guard towers, supply routes, and defensive positions. The Eastern European facility in the game matched classified NATO intelligence about a Russian missile installation that Rodriguez had analyzed just 6 months earlier. The South American compound was an exact copy of a drug cartel stronghold that had been the target of a classified joint operation Rodriguez had helped plan. Rodriguez paused the game and studied the maps more carefully. These weren't approximations or educated guesses. These were precise reproductions of classified military intelligence. He called Phoenix Interactive the next day. "I'd like to speak with your lead designer about the military accuracy in your games." That would be Alex Chen. "Can I ask what this is regarding?" "I'm a military consultant, interested in discussing the research methods for your tactical scenarios." When Rodriguez arrived at Phoenix Interactive, Alex seemed genuinely excited to meet someone with real military experience. "Colonel Rodriguez, I'm always interested in feedback from actual military personnel. What did you think of Global Conflict?" "Impressive attention to detail. Where do you source your location intelligence?" Alex smiled proudly. "Extensive research, military publications, declassified documents, satellite imagery, tactical manuals." "What about the base layouts? They seem remarkably accurate." "I spend months researching each location. I want players to experience authentic tactical challenges." Rodriguez decided to test him. "The desert base in level 7. Can you walk me through your research process for that location?" Alex pulled up the design files on his computer. FOB Chapman started with publicly available satellite images, cross-referenced with declassified operation reports, analyzed defensive positioning based on standard military doctrine. Rodriguez's blood froze. FOB Chapman had never been publicly identified by name in any declassified documents. "Alex, how do you know that base designation?" Alex paused, realizing his mistake. "I must have seen it in a documentary somewhere." "There are no documentaries about FOB Chapman. That base designation is classified." The room went silent. Alex's expression changed from pride to concern. "Colonel, I think there's been a misunderstanding." "Alex, you've created perfect replicas of classified military installations that aren't available in any public research. How?" Alex was quiet for several minutes, then made a decision. "Because I designed some of those installations before I designed games." Rodriguez studied Alex's face. "What's your background?" Alex walked to a filing cabinet and retrieved a folder. Inside were documents that made Rodriguez's mind reel. Military contracts, Defense Department authorizations, security clearances for classified installation design. Army Corps of Engineers, 2008 to 2015. Specialized in forward operating base design and tactical facility planning. Rodriguez examined the documents. Alex hadn't just been military. He'd been designing the actual bases that were now appearing in his video games. "You designed FOB Chapman?" "Among others, 37 forward operating bases across 4 theaters of operation, and now you're putting classified installation layouts into commercial video games? Alex's expression became serious. Colonel, every base I designed in those games has been decommissioned or destroyed. I'm not compromising active installations, but the tactical information, defensive positioning, strategic vulnerabilities are educational. Players learn real strategic thinking, real tactical challenges based on actual military scenarios. Rodriguez realized Alex was using his classified military experience to create training simulations disguised as entertainment. Alex, this is potentially problematic. You're using classified knowledge for commercial purposes. All information in my games is either declassified or based on installations that no longer exist. I've been careful not to compromise active operations. Rodriguez spent the next 3 hours examining Alex's research methodology. What he discovered was remarkable. Alex had created a system for using his military experience to design realistic training scenarios without revealing current classified information. Players were learning actual tactical thinking and strategic planning through gameplay. Alex, have you considered that your games might be too realistic? That they could be used for purposes other than entertainment? That's always been a concern, but I believe the educational value outweighs the risks. What kind of educational value? Alex showed Rodriguez data about his game's player base. 40% of our players are current or former military. They use our games for tactical training, strategic education, and stress relief. We've had reports of soldiers using our scenarios to prepare for actual deployments. Rodriguez was amazed. Alex had created unofficial military training tools that were helping soldiers prepare for real combat situations. Why not work directly with the military? Develop official training simulations? I tried. Military bureaucracy moves too slowly. By the time official training simulations are approved and deployed, the tactical environment has changed. Commercial gaming allows rapid iteration and immediate deployment. Rodriguez understood. Alex was providing cutting-edge tactical training faster than official military channels could. What about security concerns? Foreign militaries could study your games to understand American tactical doctrine. Alex smiled. They could, but they'd be studying tactics from 2008 to 2015. Current doctrine has evolved significantly. Rodriguez realized Alex was strategically obsolete information to create training value without compromising current operations. 2 weeks later, Rodriguez returned with a proposal from his Pentagon contacts. Alex, the Department of Defense would like to discuss a consulting arrangement. What kind of arrangement? Official contract for developing classified training simulations, using your game development expertise to create next-generation military training tools. Alex considered the offer. I keep my commercial game development but also work on classified military training? Exactly. Your games have proven that realistic tactical training can be delivered through gaming platforms. The military wants to harness that capability officially. 6 months later, Alex was working dual contracts, commercial games for public education and entertainment, plus classified military training simulations for active duty personnel. You know, Rodriguez told Alex during a classified training simulation review, you might have created the most effective military training platform ever developed. Alex smiled while adjusting tactical parameters in his latest simulation. The difference between games and training is just the stakes. In games, players learn from failure. In training, failure might save their lives in real combat. Now I ask you, have you ever played a game that seemed too realistic, too detailed, too accurate for civilian entertainment? Someone whose knowledge of military tactics seemed to come from experience rather than research? Share your thoughts in the comments. Sometimes the most effective training comes from those who've lived the scenarios they're simulating. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, subscribe, share, and help us honor those who continue serving through skills we might never recognize in the technologies we use every day.